We're going to get playing with some mixed media again today, and I'm going to show you how I got a journal this size from a bag this size. And this time we're still going to be using some recycled paper bags and Amazon packaging. I was just going to use a little bit of a different set of material supplies. Going to use inks this time instead of paints. Welcome to my channel. This is Darcy's Misadventures with Mixed Media. So for this journal, I had just basically cut up a bag that was much bigger, and I will show you real quick how I did that and then move on to the mixed media portion. I don't think it was quite as big as this bag, but you know, it's what I had at the moment. My son used to work at Bob Evans. I want 9 inches. So if that's the center, I want to go out about 4.5 on each side. So I'm just going to kind of give myself a little mark so I have an idea. 4.5, and I can tell where the middle is on this particular bag because that's where the Bob Evans thing is. So I'm just going to do that. It helps if you have your ruler upside right. I think that I just use scissors, and you can totally just use scissors, and that would probably be easier. Hold on. It's gonna be all get marked on, so I'm not worried about if that even shows. And I would have cut right through, but I don't want to lose this whole piece of paper. Doesn't really matter too much because I'm going to be cutting these down into, which is why cutting the bottom off makes sense. Don't just ignore me. I'm going to cut the bottom off real quick, and if I need to cut more off I will, but at least this way I know that I'm cutting off. And then, oops, where's my hair? Oh, I need to cut this off too. Really? I'm not having a good week here with all this camera action. Alright, I'm going to cut off the bottom first. Just, I know, I'm a mess today. I know myself sometimes. So cut off the bottom and it'll make your life much easier. I couldn't remember if I did that last time or not, but I'm pretty sure that I did. If you want to save the bottom, just open it up and, you know, do it that way, but I don't need to save the bottom. What I need to do is open up this part so that it is out of my way, basically, essentially. That's what we're wanting. So that part. And I just need to make sure that this top part is lined up when I cut it, because I did not do that the first time. Line up the top, okay. And a line would be super helpful right now if I'm going to cut this with a scissors. I'm not worried. I have it bigger than I need it, so if I need to cut it down later, because I did it about, well, I did it 9 inches, that's right. I didn't do it bigger. Well, if I had done it 10 inches, it would have been bigger, but I could always make the journal smaller. Not that big a deal. I just need a line that's going to help me cut it somewhat straight. That's all. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm not really great at cutting straight. Okay, lining up that top bit. And cutting it. You can feel the line that I have through. And try not to cut my mixed media mat underneath. That would be good. That would have made me sad if I did that. And since I didn't cut both sides on this side, I need to do that over here too. Alright, so in the end, this is going to get folded over, so it'll either be a really big journal or, let's see, I don't need it more than 7 or 8. I'm going to fold it in a little bit further. And then I can go ahead and just fold this over, which will reinforce that pocket on that side. Well, I did not cut that straight, did I? That's alright. So that'll reinforce that pocket on that side. when I do it. So I'll do that with the other piece as well. So once I have all the mixed media done on it, I will sew these edges here and do like I did on the other one. That was Monday's video, where I just took a cloth and just sewed it across, left a space in the middle, and sewed the journal right into the fabric part. So that's what that one ended up like. Okay, so now we got some pieces to play with, and I just had the other pieces. I'm gonna cut these down so they're just easier to work with, basically. All right, and then I also have some packaging. So I think I will take half of this and make it into a journal cover, and the other half I will turn into, just fell out of there. Something just fell out of there. What? That's gonna mess with my head. The rest of it I will get a line here, I think. Turn into ephemera. So when you're using the Amazon packaging to make ephemera, you either want to sew it so the little white bits don't come out, or let's see, I think I can get 2 out of this, or you want to collage over the edges. I'm gonna sew mine, but if you don't have a sewing machine, you just want to do a little collage over the edges, which even if you're going to do the gesso and ink, you can do that ahead of time or afterwards. Doesn't really matter. Alright, so I want to cut this one in half, and then I'm going to make 2 smaller journals. Yeah, like my giant scissors, do they scare you? Especially after the other day when well, these at least aren't sharp on the tip. My little precision scissors that I cut myself with the other day, those are sharp on the tip. And it was just a tiny cut, but you know, I didn't want to trigger anybody with the blood aspect of it. All right, so this piece I'm going to cut in half as well, just so it's easier to work with. And then I will, so it'll kind of end up being like a masterboard. See, if I wait till it gets wet, then that comes off easier. Also, I just won't do that side. I'll just do this side, and then the back I can cover with paper. That's what we'll do. Alright, I'm gonna just cut it on that perforation. There's a couple perforations actually. And then it'll be smaller and easier to work with, and then I can have, you know, different colors. Alright, so those will be ephemera, and I think I have enough paper bags too, but let's just go ahead and take one of these paper bags, and I'm just going to do like I did before and cut off the bottom and cut it into smaller pieces. My friend Bonnie of Bonnie and Clyde, Bonnie and Clyde, I think it's Clyde, I think her cat's name is Clive. She did this with a box one time. She cut off like the pieces and used them. So I'm going to do that with this paper bag. I'm going to take out these pieces to use as ephemera later. So we have the date, and then we also have this random little number here, because she uses everything. I just love her aesthetic and love all the things she makes. And she would probably use every part of this bag, but I'm not her. While I admire her, I am not her. Let's see. I can still, let's still take this part off. It might be interesting to use somewhere. Layered in the background, you can't even hardly tell what it is. It's just brown words, basically. Alright. Did I cut this down yet? No, because I got distracted by the bottom. So now I have them all in manageable size pieces. So I am going to start. My first layer is going to be stamping, some script stamping, just background stamping. That's maybe going to peek through at the end, but possibly not going to peek through at the end. But it's just nice to have it there. And I moved, oh here it is. I moved it. I'm looking all over for it, and it's like right in front of my face. These are some vintage stamps that I got. And I'm going to use black, she says. There's up here. And I keep moving my stuff. and because I don't know what colors I'm going to be using yet. So I'm just going to go through all these and just random stamping all over, and I'll pull out a script stamp as well. So I'll just, oops, that's going to go that way. Is it? No, it's going to go that way. Yep, that's fine. It really doesn't matter when all things are said and done. It's probably not even going to show. So I'm going to take each of these stamps and go through and just have this be the background. It doesn't have to be on there perfectly. Some of it's going to get covered up anyway. Okay, so the important thing for your stamps, it doesn't matter what your stamps are, just use permanent ink. Use what you've got. If you don't have stamps, use a permanent pen and just, you know, make some scribbly writing in the background. It doesn't have to be, you don't know what's going to show. It's just going to add some markings in the background. Where's the other one? And so it doesn't, you don't have to have nice handwriting or anything. You can just turn your paper, do it, you know, straight, crooked, doesn't really matter. Big, little, doesn't matter. Like Sergeant Shigematsu, you could do his. That's basically what his was. It was like a C and some scribbles. Probably shouldn't mention him. I don't know. Probably retired now. Okay, so the next step, I also did some stamping on some muslin so that I have some, you know, coordinating pieces to use for fabric if I want to. I just got to make sure that I have at least one of them. These are about 3 by 10, so I gave myself some extra space. I can always cut them down. I can use them as tab toppers, whatever. So I have Liquitex gesso, paint, any of it. It doesn't matter. If you got a chalk paint or a gesso, it's all good. I'm just gonna put a good amount on here, and I got that big chunk of dried paint out of there the other day. And if you don't have a brayer, you can use a credit card, gift card, any kind of scraper roller. I just kind of like, I'm getting a little string in here. I like to use a brayer. I like the look that it gives. It's random and makes me happy. And so I'm just covering it now. I know you're like, you just did all that stamping and now you're covering it. Why? Because some of that is gonna show through, and that's gonna make me happy. Now I like the Friends. I actually want that probably to show a little bit more. And also, where is one of my scraper slash card slash whatever? Because this is a little, well, that one is. I mean, you can use your hand for all I care. Use whatever you want. In my hand, because I didn't want all those lines. And that's great. That card has so much paint on it that all it's giving me is lines. Let's see, I must have something. I'm sure I do. Also, you could even just, you know, kind of put some out on your plastic, whatever, gel plate, anything, and just kind of lay it down in it, and it'll pick it up lighter in some spots, darker in some spots. It's all good. Alright. I don't really want Bob Evans to show. I don't mind if a little bit of red shows through, so obviously we're going to want to use something on the color I'm going to use on these will have something to do with red. I mean, it'll coordinate with red. That's what I'm trying to say. Those are the words trying to come out of my face. Trying to wave up some of that gesso that was on there. See, I like that look too. So, you know, just getting it everywhere is fine too. But let's see. I know I've got like a bunch of. I should keep this on its side so it's a little easier to pour out. It's already starting to dry. These are not airtight, these containers, FYI. Alright, I think, am I moving the camera? I hope not. If so, sorry. do want, I mean, I could have done these inside out, but then I would have had to figure out how to cover all that. And I could have done like Barbara and taking them off and then put them back on later. That's what she tends to do, but I don't wanna. I just don't wanna. So this one, family shows a little bit more. Okay, so I got those two covered. So I'm gonna be quiet so I can speed up through this part. That way you can see how I stamped it and the first layer of gesso going on. I'll do like a really fast speed for it. But there probably won't be any music because I don't have good music. Okay, so I've got them all, they all have some gesso on them, and if you're wondering why I put gesso on them, it is because the inks take differently on gesso than on the paper bag, and that just gives me a little bit more variety. All right, yeah, I don't care. Let's see, so I've got spray stains. You can also use distress stains. I'm just gonna pull out a bunch of colors, especially colors that I like, which is a lot of blues. And if you don't have distress sprays, you could potentially use watered down acrylics to do this. I mean, you could do just about anything, really. I'm just taking out everything. I should just bring down the whole, that would make more sense, wouldn't it? Totally would. I know I can't use all these at once, but you know, I'm gonna try. How much color do we want? I don't know. I should have really planned colors ahead of time. I also have oxides. Oxides, if I use oxides, they should go first, because the oxides are opaque. So let's pull out the oxides now that we did all that. And just move those over to the side from it. Yeah, I have an obsession. Oh, and one of them is possibly leaking. Alright, I'm starting with the oxides because oxides are opaque, which means you can't see through them. Also, I'm turning my pile upside down so that the driest pieces are back at the top. Alright, so I like red and teal, so I'm gonna start with some Mermaid Lagoon, and we're not gonna worry about that right there. I'm just gonna spray that down there, and I'm gonna spray some water. And I kind of like those scratch marks that are in there. I'm gonna spray my bag, and I'm just gonna smush paint. Get some paint on there, and even spray it a little bit afterwards just so it spreads a little bit more. Maybe smush it against itself. And that's the first layer. So there's going to be more layers. And these are part of the same book, so they're going to get done together every time. spraying this so that the water will spread a little bit more nicely. Hopefully, that's the hope and the dream. And they don't have to look exact. That's just the first layer of color. Alright, we can do a couple more pieces with that color. Just use up whatever's down here. I usually spray both because it just helps the ink spread a little bit more. That was heavily coated, and the next one I'll just wipe up whatever's left here. Now the gesso was also on, so that one got a little bit less, which is fine, and we're going to layer up more. I just want to use up the rest of this ink. I'm just spraying water now on everything. My gesso is not completely dry. It's okay. They were pretty thin layers of gesso. Okay, I'm going to continue on with the Distress Oxides. Now I've got the whatchamacallit off, so that's good. The gesso is no longer on there. This one is Distress Oxide Spray Pumice Stone, and I'll do a few pages with that. Like I said, it's a little more opaque, so it's going to cover up some of the pieces, or it's going to hardly show, probably. I was hoping it would show a little bit on the gesso at least. But it'll affect the next layers anyway. Oh, I covered both. I didn't do gesso on both sides of that, but that's alright. We'll do a little walnut stain. It'll mix in with the pumice stone a little bit. Give something interesting maybe. Okay, and this is why your hands get... See, some people just do one side at a time, and then they don't have that issue. You can even spray directly on there if you want to. You could put this in a box in hopes of not making such a mess. Or you can just not worry too much about it. Just set it right on top of the next one. Just kind of pick all that up. Here's a layer. Let's see. I'll do a little bit of wilted violet because that's what I've got. I won't spray as much because I don't want as much. I'll just do a little piece here. And then when we add darker colors, that'll be a nice little background piece. And we will do a piece of this as well. You don't have to spray with water every time. It's just going to give you a different effect, whatever you decide to do. And then I can take this piece to clean it up with. Is that the Mermaid Lagoon that was mixed with the gesso. It made a really pretty sky blue. So if I use a piece of fabric to clean this up, just know that these are going to reactivate if they get wet. It's going to make a really cool piece of fabric. But if you try to glue that fabric down, you may have regrets later on. I do not want brush pewter vintage photo. Do a little bit of that. That seems to be a lot of people's favorites. Okay, this time I'm just gonna not spray the bag and lay it down, and then you can see the difference. You get a little more splotchiness, I guess. And that's fine and dandy. I'm going to take one of these that apparently still has wet gesso on it, but that's okay. And just wipe that up with some of the fabric. And I know it looks disgusting, but it'll give it an interesting, it'll be interesting. Don't worry. Here's one of the other blue ones. Here they are. Alright, let's move on to some, the other stuff. I don't want my fingerprints on it though. My hands are a mess. This is messy. You can wear gloves. Or you can wash your hands every once in a while. I'm not, because that gesso on there is going to kind of protect my hands from, alright, so this is really orange. So I want to kind of counteract that a little bit. I'm just going to put a little purple in there. And see, purple and orange, it should brown it out some. Let me because it's a brown, but it's an orangey brown. That's a lot. But it might make an interesting, this is the one that's kind of crazy anyway. So it made it like a really dark brown with a little bit of purple in the background is what ended up happening. But it's a less of an orangey brown, so that makes me happy. And that is a lot. The darker colors, even though they're still translucent, they do cover a lot more. Same with anything. Darker colors are going to cover more. All right, that was really wet. All right, so this one has quite a bit of gesso on it. And we're just smushing paint and doing layers. So I will continue this on screen, but I will probably fast forward. Okay, everything has a layer now, so I'm going to go back to the beginning and add more layers. If you don't have sprays, you can also use watercolors and all the things. I really wish that this spray was working. Oh, it is. Okay, this was really dark. And so that will... And everything's like super wet. Oh, I think I'm probably spraying my camera too. That's probably not good. Alright, so I've got some dark blues, light blues, and I will add some teals to that later because I really like teal together. Sorry, I'm dropping things. Alright, so those two need to dry. So I'm doing the process of the mixed media in this video, and then the next video will be making the ephemera. So if you came for the ephemera making, that'll be tomorrow. So come back, always come back. There's always going to be more. There's always something interesting going on, or if it's not interesting one day, it should be the next day. This one has a little bit of yellow on it. I'm just gonna squish these together because I just do stuff. The layers. It's all about the layers. And I don't know if you noticed, but on some of these, I did as much straight as I could of the stamping, and like some of them I did all wonky and crooked because I wanted a variety. I didn't want them to all be the same. Samesies. Let's see, that has like a light blue on it. What do I want to do with that? Maybe some old... Oh, my old paper doesn't like me. This is because I don't take care of my... I don't do what Gail says. She said... Well, actually, this one might have never sprayed right. You know what I mean? Sometimes you get those that just... They were never sprayed quite right. And I think that's one of them. There we go. Got a little bit of light green with that blue. This one had brown. Should we have one that kind of stays a little bit on the neutral side? Also, I was thinking of bringing in some stencils. It really needs to dry first. Alright, everything needs to dry before I can even do anything else, really. This one's a little bit dry. But I want to show you what I mean. Let me just grab a stencil. And I'm just gonna spray through the stencil on that side and turn it over, and then do that part on that side, and that adds some nice design as well. So I will do that. I'm going to add more layers, and I might even add another layer of gesso at some point. But this is basically what I do. Stamps, gesso, inks, stencils, all the things, just to have all the fun. Is there another one that's a little bit on the drier side? Do I have one of my stencils? Because that'd be nice to use. One of my own stencils. Let's see. Use this one. What do I want to do? What do I want? Rusty hinge? I like rusty hinge. I know, you're probably like, well, why are you going to use rusty hinge? Why wouldn't you just use a pretty color? Because I like rusty hinge. I like darker muted colors. You can use the bright colors all you want. Alright, and then I'm gonna take this piece and lift that up. It's not gonna be a perfect, but it's gonna be something interesting. I probably don't want to do the other material to pick this up because it's not gonna pick it up anywhere near like what I might want it to do. So we're getting a little bit of different design on there, which is cool. It's this one. This one's. So a little bit of that came through. You can see some flowers. And then what I can do here is I can spray water on this to get that moving and grooving. And then, whoops, lay that on there. It doesn't have to be straight. It's fine. Everything's fine. And we just get the lines, and that will dry nicely. I gotta do some drying time now, don't I? This one's still wet. So we get a little something. So that is another way to play with the inks, is to use your stencils. You can spray through your stencils. We've got some interesting stuff happening there. I'm just gonna lay that down and see if I can get those lines a little bit. So I'm not moving it, I'm just laying it down because that had, didn't really pick up lines, just little droplets. Let's see. I'm sure I have other stencils here. I saw this one. The leaves might be a good one. Let's go ahead and I might not do it everywhere. Let's see, bundled sage, sure, why not? I'm just going to spray a little bit up in that corner, a little bit down here. I don't want it all over. I just want a little bit of here and there. So that would be, okay, move out of my way. Another way to do it. So now that will need to set over to dry. And then I can take this piece and lay another piece on top. Like I said, it would be better if it was dry, but it's not. But it's still going to give some interest. And we like interest. Interest is good. I like interest, and how about you? We like interest, yes we do. It's alright. It's just how I am. It's just me being me. Alright, so I am going to dry these, and then I'll be back. Okay, these are all dry. I've been adding a little bit of paint. I added some gesso or some matte paint using the bubble wrap. So a lot of these have got the bubble wrap treatment. This one got some circles. Where did it go? Oh, the Bob Evans bag, the red, it was just showing up too much and saying I could still see Bob Evans. So I put more white paint and cream paint to cover it. So now we could still see it, and a layer of this green paint on here. So now the Bob Evans doesn't show anymore. There's a little bit of red that shows through, but that's okay. I don't see the Bob Evans anymore, and that makes me happy. So now that I've done that, then I'm like, I kind of like that little bit of Brayer paint on more of these, I think. I just need to figure out the right color, because this has got like some dark blue and some violet which are near each other on the color wheel, what would go with that? Maybe a dark teal? Or a bright blue, or maybe even just repeat this in a different, this is a blue-green, a really dark blue-green, so that actually will just kind of repeat the other color that's under there a little bit, and then just a little bit of a different, well, maybe, or more teal. So I don't want to cover the whole thing. I just kind of want to get some bits of it. These are going to get cut up anyway. Is there any other ones that could use a little bit of teal? Just a little. Well, now it's just going to look like it's got little teal bumps everywhere, huh? Because why not? I'm just going to turn that over. And this is when you don't have gesso. That's kind of what you end up with. Because I forgot to gesso this side. So, yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. That needs more stuff. This, I think it'll be okay because it's going to have some other stuff go on it. This one could use a little darker something. Kind of like the color I was just using, except for not brayered on. Let's try it. Oh, that was way more than I wanted. Let's try it with what? Something I don't have to then go back and clean because I don't wanna. So maybe just some of these little dots. Like that, just a little pop of a darker color. Anything else? Use this color, this here. So we have a small pattern with the houndstooth. I wonder if I can do the sometimes with this I can kind of do a grungy thing. So I don't know. I just kind of wiggle it, and I just end up with a little bit of a grunge, and it's kind of cool. Just kind of go back and forth and up and down with it, and I mean, I guess I could even just do it kind of on the edge. I don't know. Does it different if I just try different things, you know? If you're not trying things, what's the point? Now, try things, don't try things. I like to try things, personally. Need a little bit more on there, for sure. Alright, so we've added some of that teal color. And this is, like I said, this is, it'll either be a journal cover or get cut down to be ephemera. I'm not even totally sure yet. I don't think anything else here needs teal. Let's see. Oh. That might be interesting on something. Yes, I still have my inks out everywhere. I'm supposed to be finishing up this video. That's kind of cool. Just kind of picking up some of that lines from here. Nope, not as, it's pretty dry, so I could add water to it and it'd become because it's not totally dry, but it's dry enough where it's not picking up anymore. But if I wet it, then it will become kind of like an ink. You can do that, you know. You can totes do that. What did I do with the... Why can't I keep track of those? The, there they are. I mean, they've got handles on them. They shouldn't be that hard to find. Alright, let's try it on the smaller piece first to see. Yeah, I don't think I want it on the covers. I don't... It might be alright. I mean, I'd want to go even darker if I did. That's very dark. don't think that's what I want to do on these. So I will just go ahead and grab this piece here, which maybe could use a little bit more color on it. That's just a piece of drop paper I've just kind of been adding to as I go along. Because why not? I cut up some drop papers. So I think for inking, the paper bags do okay, especially if there's gesso on them, but I think I would prefer for inking more, like this is like sketchbook paper. And I think I would rather use like that kind of paper for doing that. So yeah, I'm just gonna whoops. Alright, move that out of my way. So this, I'm thinking of adding some more paint. I'm not sure what colors. And also some stenciling. What kind of stenciling? That's the question. Pull out the, evidently, my messed up. It's only messed up because of me. I'm the reason. The problem, it's me. Hey, it's me. The problem, it's me. That is a light blue. I don't want to use the light blue. This should work. I don't think I've used it for anything yet. Oops. I'm not covering the whole thing. I'm just picking and choosing some areas. Get a leaf. They're not leaves, Darcy. They are peacock feathers. Don't you know? Don't you know? Let's see. I don't know any. Oh, that's the inside. This is the outside. What was the other thing that I did the other day that I liked? I think it was some numbers. It was the inside I really liked. I ended up using it as the inside instead of the outside. And it was definitely numbers. I think I want a little bit more. I want more. I don't have to line it up perfectly. I mean, I can, but I don't have to. And I'll do that on the back page too. And then I might even add more layers on top of that. This is the outside. Okay, we don't see it say Bob Evans anymore, so that's good. And can't even see the family and friends anymore. So, but there is a little red showing through, and I'm okay with that. This is going to have kind of a teal and red vibe happening in this journal, and probably some gold. So I might actually gold. Let's do something with gold. What? I don't know. But if I do that, then I have to wash that. The only thing that I can think to use that I then don't have to wash is the bubble wrap. That's why I use bubble wrap too. Because then I don't have to clean it. I just find more when I need it. That gold dries fast. I don't have all this time to be searching about like I think I have. I really just don't. Alright, I'll just have to go clean this. So it's just giving me little hints of gold. This is the Asemic writing. And there is no up or down, so I'm good with that. And do some on the front. Oh, roll that again because there's still some on my brayer that I can use. So yeah, I have the smaller one and now I have the bigger one, which I will now have to go and clean. And there's a little bit overlapping too. Alright, I gotta go clean it. Okay, so here are all the pieces I've made today, and I reserve the right to add more if I want to. This will be a journal cover, and I think I like it a lot. I just needed to cover the Bob Evans. If I was using a regular paper bag, the gesso and inks would have worked fine, but because of it, just the Bob Evans was it was too strong. So this one will be, used to make other things, other ephemera, as well as this one. I probably will add something to that, but might not do it till after I make the tag, or I might just clean off my brayer on there. And I'm like, you wouldn't think that would have added so much, but it like brought it to life. It's weird, I know. This one definitely needs something. This one is going to be a good background. And yes, I know a lot of that stamping I did at the beginning doesn't show anymore. But you'd miss it if it wasn't there. Just saying. And then some of it does, because some of it I didn't gesso as much. And you can see a little bit of the lines from the stencil I used on that earlier. I sprayed through this leaf stencil, added the houndstooth on there. Because I don't mind a little houndstooth with a little nature. And I like to use this, the grid piece quite a bit. There's some more houndstooth. I was in a houndstooth cut. Well, once you get the houndstooth out, you might as well use it, right? And I like that one because it does not have, it didn't have a copyright on it. Although houndstooth is a common pattern, so you can't copyright it anyway. And then this is a stencil from PM Artist Studio. I just sprayed the, well, I think it was actually the picket fence one. No, it might have been that one. It's either this one or the picket fence, or this one that I sprayed. I think if it was the picket fence, it would have wicked up more of the color. And then this one, which if it's going to be a cover, still needs work. But it might not be a cover. I might cut it down to be tags. And then this one, which is Amazon packaging. And we got some green and blue happening on this one. And I did not do the back, because if I'm going to cut it down to do Amazon packaging, I don't need to do the back. And then there's that one. I think that's all of them. Oh, I almost put my chair down on my foot. And then I've got these pieces that I used to clean up that mess before. And then there's this. I'm curious about if I do have one of these pieces that will work with this, but it's okay if I don't. That could potentially. Could always just do a plain one too. That one's very grungy. These just have inking on them. I mean, just the stamping on them so far. So you can't even tell, well, there's a little bit, but this was on this quite a bit before. The color would work, but I'll probably find something else to use for that. And then here's another piece from cleaning up the mess from the beginning. Those are some of my favorite pieces. Those pieces for the cleanup pieces. Those ended up being some of my favorites. So that is that for today. I hope you have a delightful day, and I will be making some ephemera with this. Have a delightful day, guys. Love you. Ephemera in a future video. I think I said that already. Yeah, bye for reals.